feel free to talk about, I don't know, your favorite dinosaur. Or what would, since devils can be anything, what is the scariest devil that you can think of?
Clown.
The clown devil.
Shame devil.
Actually, no.
Guilty devil.
What would be the scariest devil? Like, I feel like Priest is played out too, but that would be up there.
So you're having sex at your partner's mom's house and you hear mom waking up, devil.
It's a very specific devil.
But very common. So
That's just the ghost from It Follows, really.
I guess a devil that cooks your food. That'd be scary.
The devil that cooks your food is scary?
Yeah, because like you go to a restaurant and you don't know what you're eating suddenly, but it tastes so good. You're like, ooh. Now you have whatever inside of you. It's like Alien.
That is your worst fear. All right, we're going.
No,
Your
it's
worst fear
like,
is a good
it's
meal.
not my worst fear, but I'm trying to think of like something that would be scary. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know that they're a devil, but they're just like cooking random food because that's how you get like super spreaders, right? Is people usually like if you're eating a bad batch of food and that's an easy way to how things spread.
Yeah, that would be some kind of claustrophobia devil. Just gotta get simpler with it.
If the
Mine's a
gun
real tangible thing.
if the gun devil is as powerful as it is, I wonder how powerful the war devil would be, and I'm very frightened of the war devil.
That sounds so cool. That is a great name.
War devil is a good name for a metal band. So is Violence
So
Devil.
cool. Yeah. Violence Devil is such a great name. Like, that exists? And he looks like that? That's so cool. He's got a witch doctor's mask on.
Yeah,
he just punches things.
Yeah, Joe, you missed out on the Shark Fiend, the Violence Devil, the Angel Devil. Missed out on some stuff.
You didn't watch it?
No, so
But I made it to 9.
Yeah, welcome to Animesplaining.
Whoa.
2 of us followed what we were supposed to do, and 1 of us did not. The
Bullcrap. You did not tell me this show was dog shit.
It gets so good the more you stop.
It is. This show is everything bad about Demon Slayer is this show.
No.
Yeah.
Incorrect. Incorrect, sir. Objectively incorrect.
No, to that I agree. All they did was Adult Swim it up. They're kind of the same characters. Except that Warthog guy, they made him a girl now. That's the same personality. It's just Eric Cartman is both characters.
Welcome to Animesplaining, where the moderator does fact check. And no, because the worst part of Demon Slayer is the terrible comedy, and at least Chainsaw Man is funny at parts.
Chainsaw Man is goddamn hilarious.
I'll give you the part where he
gives it the leg up
in the nuts. After I think it's episode 2, where he proves that he can fight and he doesn't want to just quit being a devil hunter. So he like comes up and beats up the one guy and just kicks him in the nuts multiple times from behind.
But then that joke comes back, and then you didn't even see it.
But the rest of it is just... No, he does, because, they get in a fight. I saw that, but, like, this show is so uncontrollably horny. Like, this show is by a 16-year-old. Like, if I could write a show at 16, that's not a good thing. That's like Jurassic World. Ooh, what do you get when you combine a T-Rex with a Velociraptor? Isn't this premise cool? No, it's stupid.
It's fun.
I think there's
just jam 2 premises together. Now you got a new premise.
So I think I'll start off with kind of the opening, because I think the opening for the show doesn't have a good song. I'm not a fan of the opening theme, but I am a fan of the actual opening because it's just non-stop movie references coming at you non-stop.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of movie references that are a little bit trashy, and I think that's what they want their actual like identity to be. This is a trashy anime, but I
Yeah.
don't necessarily think that it's without purpose. I think it wants to be in law. And granted, this is like aim for the stars, but it's like it wants to be in line with the Pulp Fictions, Reservoir Dogs, Big Lebowski's of the world. It wants to be in that like gamut of things.
I disagree. I think it just.
Or at least
wants
it has
to
their
be
posters on the wall in its room, which is what this
Yeah,
feels like to me.
because
It's more
it's
like the kid
written by a
that
16-year-old.
watched all those movies, which is why I can relate to it so much.
It's like, what's the best part of Big Lebowski? It's the bowling players, the pedophile bowling player doing the thing with the bowling ball where he's cleaning off his bowling ball.
Jesus.
They're needing something in like a half second to be immediately recognizable as the movie that it comes from. And
Yeah.
if you're choosing something from the Big Lebowski, there's like two things that you can choose.
Yeah. And
What's
this one
the
was in
other one?
every commercial.
Like it's going to be a deep cut if suddenly you're seeing an anime like person come after you with scissors.
I would rather have seen, what's the main dude's name, Denji? I would have rather seen Denji walking through the supermarket buying a half-gallon of milk with a check for 79 cents.
That's the reference you would have made. Benji buys groceries. Benji having some guy piss on his rug. I don't know. Like,
Yes, it would have been better.
Although,
because I'm like, when is the episode where they have a bowling team? Like, shouldn't there be a reference to this?
no.
That's kind of what I love about it. There are zero spoilers in the opening. It's just some random crap. Well, one thing, I guess, is kind of a spoiler,
except the
but that's
grooming. As Tony explained to me earlier, there is the grooming from their boss lady.
Yeah, the opening is not very high on Makima, like the anime fans were, because if there's one thing that anime fans are bad at, it's reading comprehension. I like Makima.
Mango,
I want a woman like Makima. Okay.
Like, you have to know exactly, you know that Makima is the worst woman you'll ever meet. Don't marry Makima. That's a mistake.
Although marry someone with a cushy government job. Yeah, she wants to control you a bit, but who doesn't, really?
Doesn't want to just control you. It's like, we talked about it. She's not grooming you for sex. She's grooming you to go and be slaughtered.
Yes.
Like, it's not.
She's the horny demon. Just makes people around her horny, and then they work for her.
I mean, bad joke. She's a military recruiter.
You know, now you bring it up, that probably would have worked on me, but he gave me a dude, so I just, I'm good. I just walked out of there.
She just kind of shows up at a warehouse with a troubled youth, and just like, hey, want to work for the government?
Yeah, because this kid's, again, his last job failed miserably.
By the way, I'm going to call you a dog, and you're not allowed to talk back to me.
This is real life. That's just any given boss, really.
So why does Aki follow her so closely then? Because you get the impression that he was like almost has a crush on her, but he doesn't have a crush on her. Not the same way Denji certainly does. Like, he's like, you will respect. She is a virtue of blah 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 blah.
Yeah, Marlon, I'll let you answer before I say my theory here.
I get the impression that he really does believe in the cause. Like he's really ride or die for it. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with her. It's something he'd be doing on his own. But she just kind of gave him a direction and gave him a purpose, and now he's that asshole.
Give him a direction or give him an erection?
Direction. Erection's the other guy. But yeah, he's pretty much he's our straight man. He's a straight and narrow dude. He's the Jin to this guy's Mugen on this show.
Well, Samurai Champloo did it better because of Samurai Champloo had the advantage of the setting. Again, it had the advantage of like 1800s where everything is bad. You have the organized crime element, you have the corrupt government element, and everyone around them is basically just aiming to treat them like dog shit because people typically then treated like villagers and peasants like dog shit.
Yeah.
So like the anarchy idea, like, or at least this like just rebellion for rebellion's sake that they're forwarding makes a lot more sense because what do they have around them? They have nothing. This
But
one,
that's
like, again, I didn't watch the final 3 episodes, so maybe there is a lot I missed, but like there doesn't really, like, outside there's just devils all around you. So
yeah.
so you're just fighting this evil, but I don't,
To what end?
like, it's not this whole corrupt system.
I think
The
it
best
is
way
a whole
was
corrupt system.
I think the show is more about the job and roles in the job structure, which makes Aki pretty much the Dwight Schrute of this show. He's he's the assistant to the regional manager. That's who he is. He wants that position, and anybody that's not doing their job, he's like, slacker, you asshole. That's his whole personality the entire time.
Yeah, the working like hypothesis I was working on what as I watched a few episodes of this coming off of Champloo is Samurai Champloo anarchist anime, very anti-government, like anti-authority in general, very punk rock for an anime. And this we just kind of wandered into another one. It feels like because you have your main characters who, yes, they work for the government, but the ones who are model employees, the Akis of these
Yeah.
people, this show is not high on. The people who like speak ill of their authority, or like find a means to do well with their position, they are the ones who this show shows in a positive light. And Denji wanting to do well just to like please Makima is kind of seen as a moral failure rather than something that's like, oh, he's just living his dream. It's like, no, it's very much like plainly apparent through the entire thing that Makima is very much manipulating him.
Were there any references to Office Space in the opening? Because I feel like it's very much that same vibe. Like it feels very anti-authoritarian. The show.
No, there's like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah.
There are some weird shots. Like they have a shot from like behind the two, like in a car, and when I've looked at like, oh, these are all the references in the Chainsaw Man opening, it was like this was once upon a time in Hollywood, which was a movie that literally came out like a few months before Chainsaw Man's anime came out, and it's like I find that hard to believe, but it's almost like 1-to-1 this shot that it uses. So I don't know what I'm doing.
Probably, I mean, they probably, I could see it. Did they write the opening last?
Potentially, yeah.
Create the opening last?
It also wouldn't be hard if an opening to just take a scene and draw over the characters, which is a very common thing for people to do with
how long does that little scene take in the opening? Probably like 5 seconds.
It's a half second. A lot of the movie references are like not even a half second. The Big Lebowski one is the longest one because that's like a full second and a half.
Yeah, you can get them off commercials really and just draw over the characters with your characters. As much as I enjoyed the homages, it wouldn't be that hard.
But yeah, Joey, what you missed their mentor character who is the greatest demon hunter, and he just talks down to Makima constantly. Like he's basically just like saying like, "Hey, you're my boss, but I don't care."
Yeah.
So that and I think this. So I don't think this show does enough with its setting because this is probably news to you, Joey, but the show takes place in an alternate 1990s. So
It's actually news to me
they
when I watched it.
they worked this show to ensure that it took place during Japan's recession.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what they're doing with it because other than just not giving their characters cell phones. But it seems like an important thing to have that setting have that time frame for setting specifically.
If they're in a recession, that means people are desperate for work and are willing to do garbage jobs like this one that they clearly hate most of them.
No, and that's kind of apparent with Kobeni when they're facing the Eternity Devil and saying like, "Oh yeah, my family put all of the resources into my brother, and I would either do this or become a sex worker."
Yeah, it's kind of a wild friggin' choice. That poor girl. I kind of sympathize with any decision she made right after that. She just should not have
Really,
been in this friggin' situation
death. I mean, yeah, but
by her
again, and
parents.
that's the other problem. Like this show, like again, I told Tony earlier, like it looks like somebody bites a bullet in every single episode. Like somebody is killed, but then they come back. So again, like it lessens the blows of like if anybody was to get sacrificed. Like when yeah, like Eye Patch Girl goes away, or like like it lessens the sacrifice because again I'm just like, oh, they'll just be back next episode because like they'll like show like there's always a scene where like it slows down and someone gets shot and you're like, oh boy, like okay, business picks up, like what's going on? Oh, well, devil hunters are harder to kill than you think. Like, oh, it's just an excuse for you to kill him in a scene just to let him come back again.
Who are you thinking of that comes back other than Denji, who is the main character? Because Himeno stays dead. Like she turns into a pile of clothes and she stays dead.
But that's yeah, like at the end. But there's like the one because it's the one she's walking by. Isn't that Aki? Aki gets shot and then comes back.
Well, Aki has a big interesting death that's coming to him from the future devil.
And then what's her name? Because the groomer boss, she gets shot, comes back, and then you get, and then of course Denji gets killed multiple times, comes back.
Well, yeah, that's just kind of their powers. It's more explaining that they're injured and showing how much damage they could take than anything, and then showing one person that actually dies, and like, oh wait, this is the real death. This
yeah,
was not coming back.
I don't know. I think that cements stakes because in general, whenever they go into some sort of battle, like there's at least fodder that dies, or you hear about like a devil hunter dying, and when Makima gets shot. And the Gun Devil has its big assault on the devil hunters. A lot of them are dead. And then Makima stands back up, and that is made to have you as audience go, there's something weird about this Makima character. And then she crushes people from a mountain.
But it's like a Young Bucks match for like the best reference I can think of. Like you do the super kicks with the spike shoes, and then you do the Meltzer driver from the top rope, or then you do like another move that looks devastating, but then you win the match with the power bomb. Like it's like you had all of these opportunities, so like it to me it lessens the stakes because you're like oh, they'll just come back, oh, that's when you chose to do it, and then it's just kind of a letdown. Like the opening Denji does get interesting, although it's kind of weird. It's like, oh, suddenly I'm your boss, but now I want you killed, even though like I'm a devil hunter that wants you to hunt devils, but suddenly now I want you killed. And so you have them, so you do like the RoboCop opening where you have him slaughtered by everyone, and then he gets saved by his chainsaw puppy. And
like one for one, RoboCop.
Really, like what it is, like it's just like because they take their time showing you that he's getting massacred.
Yeah,
so, like
pretty gruesome. It turned me off the first time I tried watching the show.
I did try watching the show. It's just like because I mean, cool. Oh, wow, he screams. Okay, like this business picks up, and there's like, oh, but my chainsaw puppy saved me. Like,
yeah, go with it. Like they establish how. There's a chainsaw puppy. It's silly from the jump. Like they're trying to throw in your face how silly the show is. Don't take it seriously. It's a chainsaw puppy, and they don't even explain the chainsaw puppy. They never do. I keep expecting him to.
No, he's just they explain he's just a little devil, because the devils take on weird forms in general. So he was just a little devil that what's his face Denji couldn't kill in the first place. That's because he's cute, and then he turns into Chainsaw Man, but. I only saw him turn into Chainsaw Man like 3 times in the 9 episodes I watched.
You missed the 4th, really.
No.
Because the fourth is when they have the rematch with Katana Man. That's
Because
a pretty
we had
good
So you
fight.
got to see
We had
the
make sure we had to have the apartment drunken almost sex scene,
which is
and
great.
just the like, want to touch my boobs? Yes, please. That goofy, and like again, this is every stereotype of what everybody thinks of anime.
It's a coming of age story.
It's not.
Joey, you are having the problem of like the anime fan reading comprehension, just in the opposite fashion. It's like the and like I said, the thing I will focus on is that this show is trashy. Like, I can understand how this show turns people off. I personally like it, but I understand why like this isn't for everyone. It's raunchy at parts, and it there are certain decisions that they make that don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like the constant like older women hitting on this underage man is not great. I don't like it. Like, just make just like um but with like when he's able to touch Power's boobs, it is deliberately over the top because Power speaks like she's in medieval times, and then like he touches her boobs and like padding comes out, and it's like, oh, this is already
I
disappointing.
wouldn't say she speaks like medieval times. She speaks like she's 12. Like she speaks also like another immature kid. Like
She does. Like a foreign immature kid, I guess. I don't,
Yeah.
best way I could put
She
it.
she is based off Eric Cartman from the as the creator says that, like,
I don't.
one of
I
the
don't get that, but I'll take your word for it, guy. It's, yeah, this show
She's great.
is what everybody would in like what like so to you like I'm doing the opposite. I'm taking it too literally. I'm not reading the subtext.
yes.
Is
I think
there's
you are not
really
reading the
a
subtext,
deeper meaning here?
while the anime fans also don't read the subtext, but and they come out with the incorrect reading. The same anime fans who look at Attack on Titan and go like, "Isn't it cool that there's all these people in uniforms?" And anyone with a brain goes, "This is a fascist anime." Oh, these guys are just Nazis. Okay, it's like the people. It's like the people who watch Starship Troopers and don't get that it's a satire.
I I don't think like I read the subtext that what's his boss is a child groomer. I get the subtext of I guess what else other subtext is there? Whatever devils they're fighting, but how,
There's definite so it's not subtext because Denji will constantly say this thing, but if you notice that whenever Denji talks about like what he values, it's always, oh, I need to keep my current position in life. Oh, no, nothing's gained better than this. I'm able to have jam on toast. And then it's like, oh, I got this thing that's better. I can move up. Well, I need to keep this position. And when he's asked by the main devil hunter guy, because the way that the devil hunter dude like finds that he can take Power and Denji under his wing is he asks them a question. It's like, hey, in the war between humans and devils, who do you got? And Denji says, whoever will take care of me, and Power says, whoever is winning. And he goes, you guys got perfect scores. So I think
He just hates his job.
that's not. There's no reading into subtext there.
exactly what
They
it's
can't-
overt when Denji says these things, where he is saying that, like, I am, like, as I move up in my like dream ladder, that the main thing I want to do is like maintain my current position.
Yeah.
And at least in the show he doesn't seem to need to compromise his own morals
dis-
for it, but
I
I
would
feel like that's
disagree
coming.
because he still wants to ascend the dream ladder because he wants to, like, he basically wants to sleep with his boss, and so that's not like
yeah, that's
the
like
current position is not
side.
sleeping with her. You want to ascend to the position of sleeping with her, so you have to accomplish these goals. The one I got to is, yes, killing the gun demon.
Yeah, which you see like just one task, and like, all right, once I do that, I can get this right, and then that's it. He's done.
Yeah,
But no,
and
that's
she overtly says, like, anything you want after she sucks his hand.
which is why she gave him the most impossible thing.
I will
Yeah.
I will say that since the devil's powers are based on how much people fear them, definitely a way to make people fear the gun devil is just sell people guns for $200 a pop. It's like, hey, all I want is $200. You get a gun, you get ammo, and you get and the only contracted point is that you need to kill a devil hunter for me. So anyway, since you were not able to finish it, and honestly, the main part that you missed is just like the big climactic fight stuff, where they like go into the Yakuza place, they find Katana Man, they beat him up, stuff like that.
Oh man, so cool.
And Denji talks about, it's like, hey, we've taken revenge for Himeno for you. There's also a good fight with Aki when the Ghost Devil shows back up again. And there's a thing that happens.
Events happen.
But I mean, is there anything that you liked about this? Because with Samurai Champloo, you said that you like the animation, you like the story. Is it just a difference with Samurai Champloo having more time because they have 26 episodes, whereas this has 12? Or does this move too fast? Is it just too trashy?
Samurai Champloo is more mature. It's not as adolescent. I like the drawing and the music background
Because
better.
I feel like
Champloo, I like the setting better. So, and it's a much more well-versed story. Aside from that, I'm trying to think. So what did I like about this? Outside of the one scene where Denji and Aki get in the fight, and all of a sudden Denji pops up and starts kicking him in the crotch just for Aki to get back up and beat the hell out of him. But again, like, there's like, when everyone's telling him, like, you're not motivated enough, you're only here to touch boobs, like, you can't do this. And he's like, yes, I can, and I'll prove it to you. And then the whole rest of the show is his motivation to touch boobs. It's
like they gave Zenitsu
falls on deaf ears, but like, so it makes Aki wrong, but it makes him right. I don't know. Like, it's that, and I mean, it's again, because it's trashy, and it is trashy. I mean, it certainly embraces it. This is, again, like everything about Demon Slayer I don't like is this show.
Yep, I feel like this show kind of leans into it though. Like he comes off as a character in an eighth
It's not a good thing, bro. It makes it a stereotype.
And then the 8th grader would write the plot. It's just it's the fun of it, like One Punch Man.
This makes people like me who already don't love the genre give them another reason to not like the genre.
That's fair. I guess that's fair from an outsider's perspective, and I feel like seeing something that doesn't take itself seriously and at the same time is actually good, it's rare. Like, normally you see a really childish anime, you just go like blah, like we were just talking about Demon Slayer. This one, I feel like, because it knows what it is and it's supposed to be like this, that kind of helps it. I mean, are you familiar with this show that used to be in Cartoon Network called Megas XLR?
Yep. Chicks dig giant robots.
Yeah.
Entire theme song.
It is a trash show, but it was a very well written trash show. Like, it was a show about these two kids from Jersey who find a Gundam, they find a mech, and they just start fighting monsters with it. And it's dumb as shit, but it was very well written and produced really well. And I feel like this is kind of in that same vein. Like, here's just a dumb, simple, two-sentence concept. Like we just watched a movie similar, Boy Kills World. It's like that. It's a trash movie, but it's a very good trash movie.
But okay, so Samurai Champloo, again, one of my big issues with this show is the death scenes, or what I feel should be death scenes. So like where the advantage that Samurai Champloo has, there's probably two scenes where you think someone dies and they don't, and it's the one where Mugen blows up, or you think he's on the ship, but at least it's like he's over water. You can try to believe the idea he jumped off the ship in time. There's a suspension of disbelief there. And then the other advantage that show has is like near the last two episodes where they're getting, because they get in these sword fights and they get cut up pretty bad, but like, well, at least those are swords. Like we know stabbing hurts and it can kill you, but at least getting slashed to ribbons, there is at least that small suspension of disbelief that sticks out. Like you could survive this without bleeding to death. This one, every time someone's shot, they're shot in the head or they're shot in the heart, and it's like dead. And that's another big issue with this show that Samurai Champloo doesn't face. It's the way those are drawn up. Like it kills the suspension of disbelief I have in my brain.
I guess I can see where you're coming from, but they always have a good explanation for why the characters are alive. I mean, it's not like they just do it out of the blue. It's like, oh, this is their power set.
Well, I know what you both are gonna. I know what you both are gonna tell me, and it's certainly an argument. I'm like, Joe, you're critiquing a cartoon. It's still essentially what I'm doing, yes. But I mean, if you're trying to like give a sense of realism to the cartoon, that's, I mean, like it or not, my suspension of disbelief is going to play out, even though it is an animated art form.
Well, there's not much realism here. It's a chainsaw man. It's a man with a chainsaw for a face. This is junior high shit. It's supposed to be dumb.
We've already established he can die. That's the other problem. Because you established that in the first episode. You establish right away this guy can be killed.
Pre-demon, I mean, now that he's like merged with a demon, he's, well, I guess immortal. That's pretty much it.
So Joey, one of the things that seems to be is you couldn't connect with characters. You didn't like the overall plot. If this were an actual live action movie, which supposedly it is being looked at by American production companies to actually make into like some sort of movie, because Chainsaw Man got big in Brazil, and
I mean,
weirdly, but the but
what's that about?
If this was given to a director who lives in trash, excels in trash, like a James Gunn, or like someone who is
Guillermo del Toro could do this.
Is focused on that. Do you think that you would like it more? Do you think you would like this better if it were live action and it were handled by like a more character focused genre director?
Not just genre director, but like a writer. Like ideally one writer that doesn't just copy and paste what this is.
David Goyer. I think of someone copy and pasting just the most basic shit, and I just think David Goyer. I'm sorry.
No, but I mean, would this be good, like, as a character study? And certainly, like, because I get the motivation. I do. I get, like, the 16-year-old who's motivated by sex but still feels the need, like the best way to get sex is essentially join the military and like prove I'm a badass, and that this will be, there's an element of that, but I just don't find it as like, the way the story plays out, it doesn't make it relatable. It's
relatable. Well, to me, I get it, and that is that once his needs are met, he doesn't need anything else, and he just as much states that. So once his needs are met, what else is there? And all he has is sex.
But his needs aren't met. That's why he tries to, like, he does try to sleep with the one, and then you...
It's the only well need that's not met. Otherwise, it's like I have roof over my head, I have food, I'm good. That's his whole thing. He's not like gunning for anything else. He doesn't have like revenge on his mind or anything. It's like, no, I'm just existing. I'm doing a job.
Well, on top of that, the show
That's kind of cool.
has its a little bit of a nihilistic screed when he's facing the leech devil, where he's saying like, you think my dream is not worth it because it's so simple, but I'm going to show you that my dream means more just by overpowering you.
Yeah.
That's some nihilistic shit. Like,
Yeah.
your dreams don't matter.
I love this dude.
Wait, who's trying to overpower who?
That's when he's fighting the leech devil. So that's after they've defeated
Big wormy
the
devil,
bat
but,
the
like,
bat devil.
8 tits,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
like
Okay.
really long nipples, just hair and lips.
Well, the other thing is like because this animation is so like for whatever reason Demon Slayers like I know Demon Slayers kind of can look similar a little bit with how they draw up the demons, but for whatever reason it doesn't feel as over the top. This was like Princess Mononoke to me, where they would write whatever the monster, the sadness or depression or whatever the hell they were facing, in each one with like just like the animation is just like everything within their bodies just constantly move, kind of like
Yeah,
with my hands,
wriggly.
like, and it just gives it that very offsetting feel. And
It's very gross.
I will say, like, this doesn't have the animation like in the main characters that I don't like, where it's just like the overt like Demon Slayer has, where like what?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that-
what you meant. I'm like, that's not this show. Like, what is he
No.
talking about?
This show doesn't do that like Demon Slayer does. But like again, there's the other part of the genre I don't like. Yeah, like that constant, just like that, bleh, like that worm snake type. Everything slithers.
you heard
Just-
it here. Chainsaw Man stays grounded.
Wouldn't say that to the people who draw it.
So this is technically a shonen anime. It is technically a
I guess they fight every
it is a boy screaming and punching things as a genre. That is shonen anime. How is this the anti shonen when you consider that the other like big anime other than like your One Pieces, because One Piece is just a giant that will never die, is Demon Slayer? Like, are Denji and Tanjiro just two opposite sides of everything? Would these characters be
there's degrees
friends?
of similar, like again, like Denji
Technically,
said,
they already are.
because Denji says, I don't want to like just like slaughter the devils. Like I want to like he has like the element of remorse, kind of like that sounded like Tanjiro to me. But then Tanjiro's honorable, like Aki, whereas Denji is a lot like who's the annoying blonde guy on Demon Slayer?
Zenitsu, my boy.
Zenitsu. Like it's.
Chainsaw Man is a
Well, I
Zenitsu
mean,
show.
there's a little bit of role reversal, but it still feels the same. Like I wouldn't call this anti-shonen at all, because in the end, like whether like the his ultimate goal boss ends up being evil, it's still like in the end it's still a show that's solved by like fight the enemy and take them down with your powers. It's still to me sounds like not definitely not anti-shonen anime. Anti-shonen anime would be, to me at least, like let's have a discussion and
Yes.
let's have a compromise. It'd be a congressional it'd be like what's the word? Like passing a bill in Congress. That would be Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
So the true anti-shonen is Naruto, where Naruto's greatest strength is his ability to just convince his enemies to stop fighting him.
I've never seen Naruto. I'll take your word.
No,
for it.
it's not very good. Like
It's
Naruto.
got a boatload of followers, right?
So it has a boatload of episodes too. That's why we're not going to watch it. But Naruto is interesting in that your lead character like will still fight, will still win at the end, but the whole thing is that every single villain he fights is like some sort of mirror to himself, and he Naruto seems to be like not necessarily the origin, but at least the like most condensed a character where your superpower is empathy happened, and then they've just run with that. Like the Naruto Tanjiro does not exist as a character if Naruto does not exist.
Hmm. I think I had this discussion with one of Ashley's coworkers about Superman because he doesn't like Superman, and of course I love
Ooh.
Superman. I was like, "What is Superman's greatest power?" It's like he's God. Like, no, Superman's greatest power is that he's more human than anybody else. So I think it's that just seeing things differently. Like, would I rather punch something in the face or would I rather persuade them? I I get that. I but this show.
Is it
I was just
fundamentally wrong to compare Demon Slayer to Chainsaw Man? Are they just
Oh
so
no.
fundamentally
no,
different
I don't
in
think. I think
Totally
they're
understand.
perfect. I think they are definitely 1A 1B. I
Yeah.
would consider them 1A 1B.
I just see Chainsaw Man is a shonen for people like me who find Tanjiro boring as shit. So they made Zenitsu the lead, and now I like it.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
all you had to
essentially,
do.
that's really what it is. And I mean, and for a more mature audience. I mean, this show is way more, displays the violence way more.
And
Maybe
they
that's
make
part
good
of
on
it.
the threats
Maybe the
about
other
boobs.
problem is
They don't
like,
just tease at it.
of course, I have the 7-year-old daughter who's like watching parts of episodes with me. I'm like the beginning of episode 8, like, you need to go in the other room. Like,
we
sadly,
saw term
I,
we
I don't mind the violence part, but when like you're trying to have drunken sex in your apartment, Brooklyn, you got to go to the next room.
Like, oh no, too real.
Go play with your toys. You can come back in a little bit. Come
we
back for the violence, leave for the sex.
we saw Terminator 2 at her age. It's about
Yeah, there's
time.
no sex in Terminator 2. That's why I said okay with the violence.
It's just male nudity. That's it.
There's not really any new. It's more the subject matter, but yeah.
Yeah, it was the 90s. It was the time of violence and no sex.
Mhm.
I see Schwarzenegger's dingle dangle.
Although we did watch Time Cop when we were how old? Probably 4th grade. I was 4th grade, so that would have made you 2nd grade. So that would have made you Brooklyn's age.
We watched Demolition Man too.
That's
It
true.
was the 90s where like you just got kind of a flash of scene, and that was it. Like
Mhm.
Terminator 1 has a full on sex scene in it, and like that was the 80s. That was the wild 80s, and then we get to the 90s and it's just action. That's all you get. We can do violence. We can't do sex anymore. It is the 90s.
Well, they still aired RoboCop, so a
So
lot.
there's a degree of trashy that I like. Boogie Nights is a good movie, but Boogie Nights certainly has a degree of trashy because of its subject matter. Like, there is trashy,
Yeah.
but again, the story comes into play, and I do feel like they didn't really concentrate that much on the
Well, I
story.
guess at this, I wouldn't call it trashy to begin with. I'd call it simple, but I wouldn't call it trashy. He's not out for revenge. His family wasn't murdered or anything. It's just a guy who wanted to touch some boobs, and that's cool with me. That's enough of a
It
motivation.
makes his motivation simple, but it doesn't mean like you have so many characters that I have to concentrate on. Like, all of a sudden their group
They come
becomes
and go.
more than 4 people. It becomes like 6 or 7 people. Because there's the one horn devil. You saw her. Oh,
Power.
said her name. Power. There's Aki. There's girl with the eye patch. There's
Yes.
Denji. There's the boss who plays the role throughout, and then there's like 3 others that are like sitting there backing them up. That randomly
Yeah, you
get
got the
killed.
newbies.
Well, one of them's killed off in the gun ambush. That's the like black haired dude who's there when they're fighting the Eternity Devil. He
Yeah, you're
dies
talking about
then.
red shirts.
One of them dies in the weird little house.
Yeah. They have to establish red shirts, man. You can't have all the leads there, or else no one's going to die. You need someone that maybe might die. Usually someone who's not in the opening.
Yeah, and there are some characters where they are going to like outright tell you that these characters are going to die. That's the entire purpose of. Although, I think that is in episode 10. Joey? Did you see the Future Devil at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that is episode 10 then. But Aki goes down because the Fox Devil doesn't want to work with him anymore. And he gets a contract with the Future Devil, and the Future Devil, who they go like, oh yeah, I had to give up like an arm, or I had to give up my sense of taste and stuff like that. But the Future Devil like just has Aki like stick his head in his stomach for a second, and then he's like, hey, you know what? I don't need anything from you. I'm just going to live in your eye, and then will be able to borrow some of my powers, because your death is going to be awesome. and that's it. They're just outright saying like, hey, Aki's going to die, and he's going to die in a
crazy.
And I know how Aki dies because I have read ahead. But
I'm not doing that. I actually genuinely enjoy this.
So from what it sounds like Denji's story in Chainsaw Man is 2 seasons. Because his end of the story does end where he is the main character. If this show gets a second season, because Studio Mappa, who makes this, is having some financial troubles, the production of Chainsaw Man was notoriously bad. Like people under crunch circumstances, like just not great. Like downright abusive workplace is what made this.
That makes me feel bad.
If this gets a second season and it culminates the story, Joey, are you interested in coming back? Because we did do 26 episodes of Demon Slayer, where the story really didn't start until episode 13.
The tough thing is, Demon Slayer, initially, I liked the first season. Or at least most of it. This one starts off the first season I didn't love, but, I mean, what the hell? I'll jump in anything.
But
I watch, what was the show I was just watching that wasn't good? Well, I mean, hell, I'm willing to give House of the Dragon another chance, and I try.
I like House of the Dragon. Piss off of that. It's a good show.
I tried 2 episodes.
Genuinely good.
3 episodes, in fact. I made it to 3. Or, I guess a better example to not make Marlon mad. I tried Westworld Season 2.
I'm sorry.
I tried.
It's a fine example.
I watched...
Somebody had the audacity to tell me, like, Westworld, like, people forget, like, Westworld Season 2 is actually good. It's really Season 3 where it goes off the rails. I'm like, no. Season 1 is great. But Season 2, as soon as that begins, it is crap. It is, like, just following into a crap rabbit hole.
I watched 3 episodes of Interview with a Vampire, which is very good. Like, it's legitimately a good show, but it's kind of funny that they try to still have the movie as somewhat canon, because they make it like, oh, the interviewer just like ran a bad interview because he was young and drugged up and all of this other stuff. And so it's like, okay, so you went from being Brad Pitt to now this other actor who's black. Like, you just forgot that in the interview.
Black Pitt.
But yeah, the preamble of that show is like, tell me the story again.
Do it again.
Also, the actor who plays their reporter looks so much like Anthony Bourdain. It's like scary.
Yeah.
But
I'd rather watch Young Sheldon.
Oh God.
No, I'm not going to watch either one. But I have no desire to watch Interview with the Vampire. But I hated the movie too. So
I like your opinions.
So we're slowly transitioning away from anarchist anime because we had Samurai Champloo, which the whole purpose of it was that this is the anti-Demon Slayer because it takes place in feudal Japan. It has very different fight scenes, stuff like that.
That was awesome.
And then we transitioned over to Chainsaw Man, which is like, okay, now we're going to go outside of Future Japan. We're going to stay mature, and we're going to still stay things that are like relatively opposite of Demon Slayer in terms of how it goes about itself.
They are Demon Slayers, though.
Chainsaw Man
It's the same concept. They say devils, demons, it's the same thing. And these are the same characters.
This show is Demon Slayer. Like, it's made for an older audience in that it's grittier and more violent. But I would not say it's definitely more mature.
Not necessarily opposite, maybe not really parallel either. Perpendicular. It's perpendicular to Demon Slayer. They do cross.
Is it perpendicular?
Yeah, they cross.
I would say parallel.
I wouldn't say parallel.
If this crosses it is far down the line. It is like this. There is no cut at an intersection here.
But
just parallel.
But so we have to wait for Demon Slayer because Crunchyroll decided to have its dub late, and all of the episodes of the dub are not available, and I have watched the show dubbed. I'm not suddenly switching to subbed this late in the game. I'm sorry. So we're at least another month out from Demon Slayer season whatever, and just to know what we're in for. So Daisy watched this new season. She watched it in Japanese. She is the biggest fan of Demon Slayer. Loves it. Just big fan. Loves the stuff that we do not like. And she said that this season is slow.
Oh no.
We are not in for anything good.
Did she like Chainsaw Man?
She would never watch Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is too violent. But so we need to figure out something to watch for a month in the meantime. And I thought first about The Boy and the Heron, but I was like, no, let's not go to Miyazaki, because I feel like that's going too high tier.
I don't like sunshine and rainbows. I want gritty and depressing.
We are going sunshine and rainbows, though, because our next one is going to be season 1, which is 13 episodes of My Hero Academia. We are living in the land of shonen superhero, like small boys doing small boy things, even though they're like they're in high school.
Characters gonna blur together. They're gonna blur together.
Didn't you tell me at one point that this show is as pro wrestling as anime gets?
It is very pro wrestling, yes, to the point that that the main superhero is like John Cena mixed with Hulk Hogan.
Well, I mean,
so that is what we will do. We will learn what the hell Plus Ultra is. We will
what these things mean.
We will say the names of our attacks before we do them. We will talk about quirks. And I remember liking season 1. There is that. So I can say that, but I think I like Midoriya more than I like Tanjiro.
Well, I like it better than Tiger Mask.
You will like it better than Tiger Mask, because Tiger Mask was garbage.
A low bar.
Tiger Mask is not trashy. Tiger Mask is garbage. You throw that in a dump along with a whole bunch of t-shirts that didn't sell in the New Japan merch store.
There's trashy and then there's trash.
What is the worst anime that we've watched for this?
Redline's up there.
Redline's too pretty.
Yeah. I'll give you. It is pretty. I will say, like, watching this for a while now, there's a pretty. I didn't like that Philippines one.
Tresse?
Tresse.
No, yeah. I know something that we all didn't like, because we all gave it like 2s or 1s, and that's Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, yeah.
The most forgettable.
And I had to go to the best redeeming thing about that is I got to have popcorn in the theater. That's right. That was the best thing about Jujutsu Kaisen. And then finding out that movie really had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's a prequel. It's a prequel to the show.
Yeah.
Show follows completely different characters.
Oh my!
Didn't win me over the concept.
I mean,
So,
maybe. I mean, I'm sadly one that like I was interested to go see the Kevin Costner Horizon movie. 'Cause again, like,
Apparently that's really bad, and like all of the interesting stuff is when it says to be continued with part 2 next month.
it's like, who knew that another Kevin Costner Western epic would be bad?
Yeah.
His best one was what 30 some years ago. Ever since Postman, bad. Waterworld, bad. Whatever. What was the other one? Wider, bad.
why is this a two-parter?
What else is he
Why do
going
you
to do?
think
Just
you
hoard all
justify
that
it
Yellowstone money?
Isn't he dead in Yellowstone now?
I don't know.
I haven't watched.
I'm not 80. I don't watch Yellowstone.
I watched Yellowstone until it jumped the shark. Even though it jumped the shark like 3 seasons before. I know people. A degree of hypocrisy. Joe hates anime, but he watches Yellowstone. True.
But also in kind of what we're watching news, I did watch the first episode of Suicide Squad Isekai, which is weird. It is a weird show.
Good.
The Joker does have a car that he steers with a piano. That was pretty neat. Clayface
Why is the Joker in it?
He's in like it briefly at the beginning, and then the Suicide Squad goes to another world, and he's probably going to show up later at some point, but at least for the start, it's like, oh, here's the Joker to establish Harley Quinn, and they're like going around, and he has a car that he drives with a piano, so that's interesting. Also, Peacemaker is really, really big in it. Like, when they first show Peacemaker, I thought it was King Shark.
When will season 2 of that be out, or are they even making it?
They are making season 2. They're filming.
They're filming right now, but they're filming.
But it also has a sexy Clayface, and I'm all for sexy Clayface. He's not like sexy in the clay form, but like his regular form is like anime, like pretty boy.
It just makes sense.
Actor? Like he's a chiseled actor.
Yeah, he looks like you know how in Demon Slayer, Muzan Kibutsuji, the main bad guy, like when he is in like his adult form, he has like that weird hat and he like wears a business suit. He looks like that. That is how Clayface looks like in his like anime form.
Makes sense. He can look like anybody he wants. So why not just do that?
Why not take the best form possible?
But at least from the first episode, if you're wondering, is this finally going to be the thing that makes Deadshot an interesting character? No, it is not. Deadshot's still boring as shit.
Who does
really disagree on that one?
Idris Elba's Deadshot in the newest Suicide.
No, Idris. Yeah.
Wait, who does he play?
He plays Bloodsport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That
different guy.
Yeah, that's how they make Deadshot interesting, is they have him be a different character.
Yeah. I like Deadshot on Justice League Unlimited. He's cool there. And some of the comics.
He's all right in the Batman games.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Batman
Will Smith
Arkham
Deadshot
Origins.
that wasn't that interesting.
Arkham City.
Regular Deadshot is interesting. It's Will Smith Deadshot that's not interesting. For some reason, when they make him black, he loses all of his charm, and I don't get why. It changes character.
In defense of that, no one in that Suicide Squad movie is interesting except for Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. Like that.
No, that's true.
Because of course that's also where we got Jared Leto's Joker. That is just a disaster.
I was fine with his interpretation. People are weird.
I like Claire Delevingne's Enchantress.
Like that's dumb.
Wave your...
Yeah, want to know how you act as Claire Delevingne as Enchantress? Just kind of wiggle.
I mean,
yeah.
isn't that truly the depth? I've seen what's it called, whatever the Thousand Planets movie is.
No.
I mean, that is kind of the depth of her acting talent.
Don't make me talk about Luc Besson again. We avoided that last time. We fortunately talked about him when we stopped streaming.
By the way, scores this show gets. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for some of the things that we were talking about. So 2.5.
Yeah, so standard score stuff. So 1, insulting to my intelligence. 2 is like bad but with redeeming qualities. 3 is generalized, I liked it. 4 is good but with some like pretty egregious problems. 5 is good for the genre. 6 is exemplary for the genre, and 7 is so good it has redefined what good is. So, Joey, you give it a 2.5.
And I gave Samurai Champloo a 6.
Yep.
So yes, very different. Demon Slayer, I forget what I've given it. Probably a 3.
You've generally been either a 3 or a 4 on it.
I'm between a 5 and a 6 on this one. What's 6 again?
6 is exemplary for the genre.
I'm going a 6. Not necessarily because of the writing. The writing is a 5, but the action sequences are they earn the 6. The action sequences are solid, especially towards the end. And then when the emotional stakes really get going, things really get good in the episodes that Joey didn't watch. So this is a 6.
When this show hits, it really hits. Himeno's death scene where she gives herself to the Ghost Devil is very good. When they return to it, when Aki is fighting the Ghost Devil, is very good. It's a very good setup and payoff.
The opening.
Makima legitimately feels menacing, especially later in this season. Like just nonchalantly saying that she found out the different families and friends of these Yakuza members, and she just put their eyes in a bag.
Yeah.
on top of the crushing, like Joey, did you get? I don't think you got the crushing.
Got crushed.
So
a lot of
no, in episode 9, that's definitely in episode 9 where Makima goes to the shrine and she has like a random person say like a person's name and then just does this with her hands, and then one of the Yakuza members just gets crushed into oblivion. Like they just explode.
Yeah. Like an invisible giant hand is just crushing them.
Maybe.
Bloodbath. Like ketchup explosion. Well, you're missing cool shit. You keep missing cool shits.
But
God damn it.
If Samurai Champloo is a 6, I cannot give this a 6. So it gets a 5. It is very good for what it is, but there are other things that I would say, like I think that once you get to that 6 or 7 range, even though it is like exemplary for the genre, you start needing to like view things against each other, where it's like, does this meet other 6s that I've had? And no.
Not for me. They could be a 6 for different reasons. Like I could have 2 5-star movies that are just unrelated to each other, and not even the same genre. They could both be 6. It's fine for me.
But in terms of like the memorable scale, because memorable is probably what's going to stay with you. Sadly, of Samurai Champloo, this, and Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is probably still the most memorable. Maybe I'm biased because we've watched more episodes of that than the other 2, but yeah. I feel like certain parts of Demon Slayer just like stick with me, like the weird afterlife demons, just like, let me show you me eating this one person. Like a lot of that story just it still sticks out in my memory. Like this, I'll probably forget. Samurai Champloo, like I remember because I like the opening song. But aside from that, like the general story of Demon Slayer, I can remember pretty good bits and pieces from each season we've watched.
It's the opposite for me. I can't remember much from Demon Slayer at all. It just kind of blurs together after a while, and I can't tell you what happened in what season. It's just all one large season for me in my head.
Yeah, I can. So I can remember the names of the main and secondary cast of Chainsaw Man. For Demon Slayer, I know the main cast, but once you get into the Hashiras, I just call them like what they are. Like, oh, this is the flame one. This is
Swag one.
yeah. This is the sound one.
one.
But I can't remember anybody's names.
There's that. So, there is that.
But that's how I consider someone memorable. Like I know who Himeno is in Chainsaw Man. She is the one with the eye patch. She is the one who comes on to Denji and like takes him to her apartment and tries to sleep with an underage boy and pukes in his mouth.
Defense, she is absolutely hammered too. Because what's her face drinks them all under the table. So it's like, oh, if you can outdrink me, and then you go to the flashback where she's just like sitting at the bar, just like nothing happened. The other two are just laying on the floor. That is actually kind of funny.
But yeah, so Joey, I do think that if you gave it a second watch, I think that you would come out a little bit more with it. Maybe if you took like longer between episodes to let things sink in, you might like it more. But I'm not going to force you. It's a show that's not for everyone. There is a reason why this is like why it was completely 50-50 on whether or not you would like it or not. But
very niche.
Yeah. But either way, we have
again, stress say I didn't like. I probably liked less. What else? The Cowboy Bebop movie I wasn't a fan of. Redline, of course, I wasn't a fan of. So it's better than some of the stuff we've watched. But and certainly some of the Star Trek Visions episodes.
Star Wars Visions. Star Trek Visions is not a thing yet until Paramount Plus hears this stream and goes like, oh, anime Star Trek
cartoon. They have a Star Trek cartoon.
That's Lower Decks. That's not anime. It's it's a style.
Everything is anime.
Everything is anime. An Interview with a Vampire is anime now.
Getting a Terminator anime, so everything is anime.
They have a Terminator anime?
They have it coming out, yeah. It's made by the people who make Ghost in the Shell, so it's go have good looking technology at least.
I mean, and it can't be worse than Terminator Genesis or Dark Fate, so I'm on board.
And Blade Runner Black Lotus was okay, so there is that.
Ooh, I should watch that actually. I tried the Pacific Rim anime, and
I keep trying. Yeah, I just can't get into that 3D animation.
Pacific Rim. They just need to accept that if Guillermo del Toro is not attached to it, that just don't try. True. Just stop it.
Pacific Rim 2 was terrible, which makes me feel bad because I like John Boyega. But
it's like the fact that there's this new Hellboy, the Crooked Man, coming out, and it just looks like such crap.
Well, the other Hellboy. What was the Hellboy that one? What was the David Harbour Hellboy that was absolute crap?
Well, it's about to look amazing by comparison. When you see this, you're gonna feel nostalgic for David Harbour.
I don't know. It might eat Cleveland. I'm still not forgetting that. It eats Cleveland.
Yeah, unfortunately, we cannot watch It Ate Cleveland, but we do need to talk to an anime studio about it. But yeah, next month we'll do My Hero Academia. We'll find out who the hell Midoriya is and All Might and all of that other fun stuff. And
deal with late on memes.
Yeah.
So is My Hero Academia a lot like The Boys, only more positive?
It is exactly like The Boys, Joey. Okay. No, it's.
I haven't seen The Boys.
It's 1-to-1.
Chainsaw Man is more like The Boys.
1-to-1 The Boys. No, it's the way I would describe
Sky High superhero high.
It is Sky High as an anime. That is all it is.
Okay, I like Sky High. So
Yeah,
we'll come
just
back to
animate Sky High. That's
that. I did like Sky High. So again, yep, we'll come back to this.
Hooray! And